Hey everyone, Frugal Panda here. This is a video of my ride on the South Quebec Way Trailhead. I've taken this ride before on the Lectric XP and the Rad Mini version 4. I may have done it on the Rad Runner too, and also back when I had the Ancheer, the little bitty Ancheer 250, I'm pretty sure I took it down this trail. This is a trail that takes you to downtown Denver. I want to say it's around 12 to 14 miles each way. 12 to 14 miles going to Denver and 12 to 14 miles on the way back. So this will take you to downtown Denver, and it will take you to places where you can get bites to eat, shop, all that good stuff. During this ride, the way we took, you don't have to cross any roads or anything like that. It's a straight shot down there. It's a fairly pretty ride. Today was probably around 90 some degrees by the time we got there or on the way back. We start around 10 a.m. As many people don't know, Denver gets really hot. We can get 90, we can touch 100 degrees in the summer. Now, with that being said, we took the Lectric XPREMIUM, which I'm riding. My son, who's 13, is riding the Lectric XP, and my wife is riding the Rad Mini version 4. Usually it'd only be two of us, me and her a lot of times. We do these rides when he's in school a lot of times. But since I have all three bikes currently, I said, well, let's go take a ride. And this allows me to also test this Lectric XPREMIUM a little bit better. Now, so the Lectric XPREMIUM, this is the real true test, not a little stop and go riding around the suburbs. It's actually taking a trail and riding it. As far as power goes, it has decent power, as I said in the other video. But what I did notice while riding this bike was sometimes they would leave me. Like, I have to work a little bit harder than they do to like get up to speed, and I'm going through the gears. I'm figuring out how to use the throttle in regards. You got to make sure it's under speed 4 on your shifter, so like 4 and below for the throttle to work better. But the throttle itself is peppy, but it is weaker than actually the Lectric XP and especially the Rad Power Mini, because the Rad Power Mini, which is just basically what the Rad Expand is now, just the Rad Expand is just a bare bones version of the Rad Mini, has a 750 watt motor versus both of these have around 500 watts. Regardless of the peak power, the Rad Mini makes more torque at the bottom end, which means it pulls away quicker, especially on throttle. Now, the other two have a higher top speed at 28, but they will have to work hard to get to that 28, where the Rad Power will do obviously better in just going, and it will keep going. Now, with that being said, I did notice that at times it was much easier for him to pull ahead, and then I would have to work harder, with the gears and everything like that to catch up to him. And that's just the truth of the matter. I'm figuring that out. It's not a deal breaker for me. It's just different. And then also the throttle is not as simple to use on the mid-drive Lectric XPREMIUM as it is to use on the Lectric XP and the Rad Mini that my spouse is riding. And also you got to take into account that my son probably weighs, I don't know, weighs 13, 110 or something like that. My spouse weighs 120 pounds. I weigh probably 90 pounds. I hate saying that, 90 pounds or more than my spouse even. So she can go into level 3 and hit higher speeds than me just because of that weight ratio, how much she weighs compared to me. But even with that being said, I do notice the difference when I switch off bikes and I ride in between them. I got much more of a workout this time on this trip than I did when I came the last time, and I was probably riding a Rad Power Mini. Now, I'm going to have two sets of videos. This is the one going and the one coming back. I didn't have the heart to cut all this footage I took. I took like an hour's worth of footage. I didn't realize it. So I'm just going to break it up in two parts. This is going to be the one of us going straight downtown, getting a bite to eat and all that good stuff. And once again, this is the South Quebec Trailhead. All bikes performed really well. I like the bike. It's a chunk. One thing I did notice when I went downtown, I usually don't like parking my bikes anywhere where I can't see them from where I'm eating. But when I did park, I probably had 4 or 5 locks with me because there's 3 bikes. So they were all wrapped around one of those real thick poles that you can't cut. And but I still always had to go outside and check on them because, it is downtown. There's quite a few homeless people along this route. They don't bother nobody. Usually, if you see them in the video, they're standing off to the side, stuff like that. But there are quite a few homeless people in Denver. That's just the reality of it. Denver itself also has really good homeless benefits. So a lot of people, honestly, that are here that are homeless aren't even from our state. They come from other states. And I can say this for a fact because I also work in human services as my real job. And we have really great benefits here. So people come from across the country, just like they go to California into the Pacific Northwest, because the benefits are great here. You can literally hop in your car. And I've taken calls like this on my job where people calling from Mississippi, for example, literally, or Georgia, hey, we're running on fumes. We're almost there. We need a place to stay. They have no job in sight. They're not even thinking about getting a job yet. They literally, somewhere along the grapevine, they heard that, hey, come to Denver, come to Colorado. They're great benefits. They'll get you a house. I mean, not a house, but an apartment, Section 8 and all that stuff. So that's just the reality of it. So you will see homeless people along the way, quite a few of them. The area we went to eat, you don't hardly see them. I think, though, Denver's starting to crack down a little bit. It's just how it is. Like I said, they weren't bothering anybody, but they are apparent in Denver more so. With that being said, this is still a great ride, y'all. This is something free to do. Literally, you grab your bike and you hop on and you can ride. You won't see in the video, but there was like a market going on, a farmer's market going on at the Cherry Creek Mall. Like literally, you can stop, shop, all that stuff. I think I'm going to get or build like a little crate for the back or for the front of the Lectric XPREMIUM to have to put stuff in also. I always carry a backpack, all that stuff, but still, you know what I mean? So I can put stuff in there. All bikes perform well. The battery life on this bike is really, really strong. So after the ride, I dropped 1 bar on the ride back. And that was like right when we were getting ready to get to the vehicles, to put the vehicles in. It dropped 1 bar. And I bet if I turned it back on, it'd probably show the bar was back. Because you know how these are with their accuracy at times. But I firmly believe this bike will get 100 miles. Because most of the time I rode in level 3 and level 4. Because like I said, my spouse and my son are a lot lighter than me. So level 3 for them, they're flying. They're like flying. Especially my spouse on the Rad Mini, because the Rad Mini has that 750 watt motor in it. I believe it's a Bafang. It's a quality motor they put in those Rad Power e-bikes. So it takes off pretty quick, and it has no problems with hills most of the time. This one really had no problem with hills either. Only main issue with it, like I said, at times was they would leave me. You can see them when they take off, from a turn or something like that. They sometimes pull away from me pretty fast, and I'm a much better rider on e-bikes than either one of them. It's just the nature of it. If you're curious about how the other bikes went, honestly, with them on them, they may have lost 1 bar. I know they didn't lose 2. They still had plenty of power left, especially the Lectric XP with my son on it because of his size. Like I said, around 110 pounds. So I don't know. He'd probably get like 50 miles of range on that bike or something, but it performed really well. Old school Lectric XP 1.0, still doing well. Once I changed out that bad controller, it did awesome. Now, I'm still satisfied with the Lectric XPREMIUM, but like I said in the last video, think about it before you get Lectric XPREMIUM. Do not get caught up in the 100-mile range. Do not get caught up in that. Think about what you need for your needs. You know what I mean? Because you're going to work harder when you're actually pedaling it. You have to keep being aware of the gear changes and all this stuff. Because if you don't change gears, you don't do it right, it does not perform very well. You actually have to treat this like a regular bike in regards to changing gears and all that stuff like that. Versus my son and my spouse, they rode the whole time in gear 7, I believe it is. Or sprocket 7, whatever you want to call it. But they were in gear 7 the whole time because it doesn't matter what gear you ride in, to be honest with you. So that's just something to think about. It's not a big deal to a lot of people, but some people it may be irritating. If you've never ridden an e-bike, it's not going to affect you as much because you don't know the difference. A lot of times you haven't ridden one before. But if you've ridden a hub motor and you're going to a mid-drive, you're either going to like it or you're going to go like, whatever. it's maybe not. So if you're not for sure, or you've ridden an e-bike before and you like hub motors, this bike could possibly disappoint you. And if you think it's going to disappoint you, do not get this bike. And if you want an electric XP bike, electric bike, get the electric XP with the bigger battery that goes 65 miles. And that's probably with a 180 pound rider on it. So that might fit your needs better because it's still going to give you that good throttle. You're not going to have to worry about the gear changing, all that stuff. If you want a better workout, and like I said, even with the better workout, I wasn't like sweating or anything like that, but I was definitely working out more. I can tell you that for a fact. So there's some things to think about. This ride itself is a beautiful ride. It will end, kind of end by the Platte River. So you can go down by the Platte River, put your feet in if you want to. I saw people in that water and everything like that. I just didn't have the heart to get in it. I'm going to be honest with you, everyone, because I know there's homeless people all around there. I work with homeless folks, and I know that, sometimes people use the bathroom in it and, yeah, do all types of stuff. So I didn't have the heart to get in it. And the Platte River here is so shallow, and because they take so much water out of it by the time it gets here in comparison to when we were at the Platte River in, I think it was Omaha, Nebraska, either Lincoln or Omaha. I think it's Omaha, how huge it is. And then here it's like you can stand in the middle of it, type of thing. So I still recommend take the South Quebec Way Trailhead, test out your e-bikes on it, and get a ride downtown. It's a peaceful ride. Like I said, there may be homeless people around you here and there. They don't bother you. It's a good, peaceful ride to check out. Lectric XP Premium. And when I talk about certain things do not think I'm like, I don't like this bike. It's a bike I'm getting used to because I'm used to hub motors. So I don't want to, make it sound like it's a bad bike to people, because it may come off like it's not that. It's just totally different in how it operates. Is it better on hills? I want to say it is, because you can drop to those lower gears and the motor picks up a little bit more. But to be honest with you, I can't remember what they put in here. Maybe it's a 500 watt mid-drive motor that maxes out at 800. They should have put a larger mid-drive motor in this bike, in my opinion. Honestly, it needed like a 700, 750, and then it would be bomb, to be honest with you. Now, remember with this too, you need to change the gears, not just to change the gears for performance, but if you don't change gears correctly and all that stuff, you will run through your chains really fast. Chains on mid-drives will wear out quicker, and once this chain goes on this bike, I recommend upgrading it, not getting another electric company chain, but go with a better quality chain to put on this bike. That's tried and true, but mid-drives do put a lot of strain on the chain, especially if you're not changing gears. The brakes on it being hydraulic, they're the best brakes I've ever had on a bike. That's, to be honest with you. I love hydraulic brakes, best. Very little squeaks, except for at low speeds when I was like right when I came to stop every once in a while. Now, when you ride this bike, it's fun. It's still fun. I just wish, my main thing is I wish the throttle was better. I don't really care much about changing gears. That's not a big deal. I got the idea of it. It's just I treat it like a regular bike in regards to that. What I have an issue with is I don't think the throttle is strong enough. It's like, depending on how you're driving, if you're going downhill, you're going riding a certain way or whatever, it does fine. And then other times it's so laggy in how it works, like kind of weak. So I don't know what that's about. I still got to play around with this bike a little bit more. It's unlocked, by the way, everyone. I unlocked this bike, so it has the top speed of around 28 miles an hour. So that's there. I'll do some research, and maybe there's a way within the settings to make that throttle kick in better than what it does. But that's the only real major disappointment with it. The build quality and everything on it is the best Lectric XP has done. And that's, to be honest with you. It has a wider handlebar, things like that. There's the Platte River for you right there. Now, like I said, you can stand in the middle. People do. I just can't get out there. You can see, went to Dave's Hot Chicken for food. A real spicy dry rub. It was okay. No sauce, man. They didn't give us sauce with it. It wasn't that good to not get sauce with it. But anyway, like I said, that was our ride. But all the bikes did great. The ranges were awesome. Anyway, Thanks for watching, everybody, and I really appreciate it, and I hope this helps someone out here, and I hope this helps someone that's looking at this bike or maybe an idea of where to ride their bike when they're in Denver, Colorado. This is Frugal Panda out.